This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, a unique science project hits the road in a bid to get children interested in the subject. 2 fatalities forced changes at a notorious intersection, and more safety precautions are likely to come. And those who are providing support to family members are formally recognised during a week-long campaign. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Rebecca Dupree. A unique local science project has been launched at Kaikarai Primary School. The mobile laboratory has been a year in the planning, and now it's hitting the road to get kids passionate about science. And there's more brewing behind the scenes.
Revealing the future of science education. Kaikarai Primary School pupils have been witnessing the opening of a project 1 year in the making. Lab in a Box is a mobile science laboratory created inside a 20-foot shipping container. It's aimed at getting more Kiwi kids to engage with science from a young age.
If you have positive science experiences with the sort of late primary school and intermediate school kids, that they're more likely to take science subjects at secondary school and go on to have an interest or at least an enthusiasm for science and technology later on in life.
Prior to the build, local children were asked what scientific topics they wanted to learn more about. The result has been the inclusion of several microscopes, a 3D printer and virtual reality equipment. Much of the gear will be brand new to the thousands of children using it.
There are lots of places which don't see scientists coming through and don't have research institutes that they can go and visit. So it's really difficult for some of those rural schools to get enough money together to get a bus to go into a university or to a CRI. But by bringing the science to them, I think we solve that problem.
The project progressed quickly, with government funding only secured in May. It's been a collaborative effort involving several organisations led primarily by the University of Otago and Otago Museum. Those involved say it's been a hard slog completing the lab, but they're expecting it to have a bright future.
So this is the only one so far. We'd hope actually to make a few more and perhaps send them up to the North Island for those poor benighted people up there. But yeah, so that's the plan. But it's been a hell of a lot of work to get this one together. I don't know, how much energy we have left.
Programs inside the lab will also be made available to older children and community groups. It's all to ensure science's popularity blows up. Ruby McAndrew, 39 Dunedin News.
The South Dunedin cycle network is likely to be pared back due to the cost of fixing mistakes. The City Council has had to spend an extra $320,000 on the network. That's to undo parts of it which created problems for road users and residents. As a result, there's not enough money left in the budget to complete all the work originally planned. Now the council is likely to deliver less for the same cost and will take longer to do so. The network is costing just over $6 million in total. It's supposed to be a model for all cycleways throughout the city. Changes have been made to a notorious intersection on Blackhead Road following a fatal car crash. Bigger signs and brighter road markings have been put in place by the Dunedin City Council, and more changes are likely to follow.
Looking out for drivers' safety, the City Council's roading team has been improving the intersection of Blackhead Road and Tunnel Beach Road.
Well, the change we've made here is to make it more visible so that the cars coming up to the intersection know that there's an intersection coming up, because this particular road through here, the way it undulates, does actually hide the intersection for those that are not familiar with it.
2 people died at the intersection last February when 2 cars collided. That prompted investigations by police and the City Council. The former give way signs have been replaced with larger stop signs. Road markings are brighter and warning signs have been added at the approaches to the intersection.
A lot of our drivers are tourists, so we need to make it very clear. So we've added extra signs to warn them in advance. On this side here, they're letting you know there's an intersection and a give way coming up. In this case, it's a stop sign.
The council spent about $5,000 on the work, but it's not finished.
We're going to look further at the intersection to see if we can put in some different islands, some different widening out, a whole range of different things. That'll take a little bit longer to produce, but this should give us the biggest impact in the short term.
The speed limit hasn't been changed. It remains 80 kilometres along Blackhead Road. There's been no serious crashes at the intersection since last year's double fatality. Council staff are hoping the stretch of road remains problem-free. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
Police are concerned about a recent increase in criminal activity around Ravensbourne. The latest incident occurred over the weekend in Ravensbourne Road, where a Suzuki moped was stolen. That follows the recent burglary of a vacant flat on the same road, in which several household items were stolen. Police are also investigating a third incident involving the attempted break-in of a house in Manuka Street. Residents in the area are asked to report any suspicious activity. People who provide constant unpaid support to family members are being formally recognised. The local Carers Society is celebrating its 4th Awareness Week, shedding light on the work being done behind the scenes. And the campaign is revealing some associated hardship.
Taking time to care for the caregivers. Carers Society Otago is celebrating its annual Awareness Week. It's aimed at showcasing the work of carers and ensuring they're supported in the often thankless and forgotten role.
These are unpaid family carers who support anyone with a disability, chronic illness or addiction. And it's an unseen group. People are quite isolated, so what we're trying to achieve here is awareness for carers.
It's a low-key celebration with information stalls set up at the Central City Library and Dunedin Hospital. Society members are also handing out information to the public about the role carers play and the support they sometimes need.
Carers often neglect their own health. They seem to be, the emphasis is always on the person with the illness and the disability.
In the most recent census, 1 in 5 New Zealanders identified as being a carer. Society members believe it's crucial their service continues, with so many people caring for relatives nationwide. But the organisation's future is up in the air.
It depends every year of whether we get enough funding, but we are very passionate. I'm a carer myself. My manager and community worker also is a carer herself. So we have a deep understanding and a deep passion of the issues.
There's only one other carer society in New Zealand. But it's hoped that small events like this will encourage more support for carers, both locally and around the country. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, a nationwide drill is about to take place. We'll find out what for and why. And a local support group makes a push for Dunedin to become a refugee centre.
Mobility Scooters Otago. Mobility scooters, new and used, electric manual wheelchairs, strollers and walkers. Free home demonstration and delivery. Call Tony on 03 455 2875 or visit our showroom, 211 Canudwood Street, opposite Westpac.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At your locally owned and operated Veggie Boys store, we've got fresh produce daily, fruit, veggies and more. Competitive prices is just one of the reasons people come to us in all seasons. Convenient locations and friendly crew, Veggie Boys Dunedin, come try something new. Stores in the north, the south, be our guest, Centre City as well to serve you the best. Daily specials on produce that are hard to beat, all tasty and healthy and all good to eat. Don't forget we've also got your milk, bread and meat. Veggie Boys Dunedin, your guaranteed a treat.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Mosgiel Mowers Plus can help you with products to make your garden maintenance jobs easier. Lawn mowers, ride-ons, chainsaws, line trimmers. Sales and service are our specialty. Mosgiel Mowers Plus. Phone 489 3572 22B Gordon Road, Mosgiel.
Big Orange for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook, opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Hello, I'm Dougal Stevenson. Welcome to Museum Diaries, the programme where we showcase the rare and wonderful treasures of the Otago Museum, many of which you don't normally see. On the show, we find out about crayfish, wasps and gummy sharks. Scott Reeves brings in weapons from the Indian subcontinent. We discuss the impact introduced mammals have on New Zealand's native wildlife, and we talk preventive conservation with Lisa Yates.
Welcome back. Grocery bills keep rising across the country with another monthly increase in the overall cost of food. Statistics New Zealand says the cost of fresh fruit has risen about 9% over the last year. Vegetable prices are up by about half that amount, and there have been smaller increases in the cost of meat. Some products are fluctuating, and one of the biggest price drops is in relation to fresh milk. It's now at its cheapest rate in more than 2 years, having fallen more than 6%. And on that note, let's take a look at today's markets. And the NZX 50 has closed the day up 13 points. It's now at 5,703. The Nikkei is down 187 points. And to the exchange rates, the Kiwi dollar is up against the Australian, albeit slightly. We're down against the other currencies we follow. The City Council is urging residents to be better prepared for natural disasters following the June flooding and the recent fire on Saddle Hill. It comes as a nationwide earthquake drill is about to take place, and Emergency Management Officer Glenn Mitchell joins us to talk about it. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening.
Now, we've had a range of natural emergencies and threats in the city this year. Is that uncommon?
No, it's not. In the last 10 years, there's been a period in any given year we've had floods, fires, landslips, the whole lot. So yeah, no, it's not uncommon at all.
Now, you're having an earthquake drill this week, but why?
So it's about trying to encourage people to think about what to do before, during and after an earthquake. So practicing that drop, cover and hold, the right thing to do during an earthquake, and to think about how they would cope during a disaster.
What should residents do to prepare for a natural disaster?
Well, they should really think about the consequences of a disaster, how they're going to cope without water, electricity, unable to get around because the roads are blocked, perhaps the home is compromised, and think about a solution that works best for their circumstances, and not to plan alone, to think about the family, neighbours and friends and how they can help out as well.
And what should businesses or community organisations be doing?
Well, the first thing they need to be thinking about is their staff, their people. You know, without their people, they can't really function. So they need to look after their people and plan for how they're going to help them during a disaster. And communication's a big thing as well with their providers, but also their community and their staff. And that will put them in a good position to be able to then help the community as well.
And this week's event is called Shakeout. How many locals have signed up for it, and how does that work?
So we had nearly 24,000 Dunedin people sign up so far. We'd encourage more. When you sign on to the shakeout.govt.nz website, you get a whole lot of access to resources to help plan for any sort of disaster, but also what you can do to plan for an earthquake drill itself, whether it be in the workplace or at home.
Are they participating in this week's event?
Well, the people who have signed on have said that they will participate in some way in the exercise. They may be able to, at 9:15 on Thursday, do the drop, cover and hold, or it might simply be around actually having that discussion with their family and neighbours and thinking about how they can help each other out.
Have schools around Dunedin signed up to it?
Yeah, a large number of schools have signed up. In 2012, when we had the drill last, it was the last week of the school term, so it was a lot easier for the schools to participate.
Now, what items should people have in their emergency kits?
Well, the key items are water, food, some lighting and means of keeping warm. Ideally, people should think about how they can stay in their own homes, because that's the best place to be if they can do so. So essentially how to camp in your own home without those services we take for granted.
Who coordinates the response to a natural disaster here?
So Civil Defence is a department of the council. We have an emergency operations centre where we bring in the key agencies that respond to an emergency event and essentially get them working together to provide a coordinated response during that disaster.
How useful can a basic plan be in an emergency?
The plan is useful, but really the value is in the exercise, the activity of actually going through the planning, having that discussion with, again, family, friends, neighbours, about how we're going to cope with a certain type of event or a certain consequence without those services and how they're going to get by and help each other out.
Emergency Management Officer Glenn Mitchell, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, could the city become a refugee settlement area? And we meet the local man who's focusing on his future after returning from an international sporting tour.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special 0800 502 402.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Pallet fires are growing in popularity in Otago, with people who want a clean and efficient form of home heating. The sight of a burning flame without the problems of chopping, stacking and carting wood around is a winner. Pallet fires, so easy, so efficient.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At your locally owned and operated Veggie Boy store, we've got fresh produce daily, fruit, veggies and more. Competitive prices are just one of the reasons people come to us in all seasons. Convenient locations and friendly crew, Veggie Boys Dunedin, come try something new. Stores in the north, the south, be our guest, Centre City as well to serve you the best. Daily specials on produce that are hard to beat, all tasty and healthy and all good to eat. Don't forget we've also got your milk, bread and meat. Veggie Boys Dunedin, you're guaranteed a treat.
Grandad loved his family and surfing, in that order. He taught me to surf and we spent a lot of time in the water together over the years. When he died, I strapped the camera to the nose of his old board and filmed the paddle out at St. Clair. Gillian's played the video on the big screen at his funeral. Grandad would have loved having everyone come out one last surf for them.
Gillian's Funeral Services, helping families celebrate the lives of their loved ones for generations. Gillians.co.nz.
McClellan Refrigeration is your one-stop shop for heat pumps in Dunedin. We have a range of heating, air conditioning and refrigeration solutions. We also have 20 years experience. McClellan Refrigeration, call us on 477 0088.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Is a very tragic death, a very painful death, a very prolonged death, and certainly nothing that needs to happen.
It's not part of our anatomy that people like to think about that much, but actually we need to.
People don't know the symptoms.
About half of people you ask don't know the symptoms of the disease, and that makes them very much at risk of dying from the disease or having a much poorer outcome, because the disease is very curable if it's caught early.
Welcome back. Local support groups are pushing to raise New Zealand's refugee quota and create a resettlement centre in the city. The Dunedin Refugee Steering Group has made a submission to government along those lines, and it has received widespread backing.
An ongoing international crisis. Refugees are fleeing foreign lands for a safer home. In Dunedin, community groups are responding by coming together to see how they can get a resettlement centre to be set up in the city.
It started off really as a conversation among people out here in Dunedin South, talking about the refugee crisis, and the conversation came around to, look, what can we do about it?
Dunedin has a history of taking refugees, and group members say that's one reason why it's a suitable option for a resettlement centre. The government allows 750 refugees each year, but there's widespread support for the quota to be increased.
The quota for New Zealand is insufficient in response to the huge humanitarian crisis that our world faces. We believe Dunedin and New Zealand can do a lot more.
The group's initiative is being backed by several local organisations, including schools and tertiary providers, as well as high-profile residents. A submission has been sent to Immigration Minister Michael Woodhouse for the government to recognise Dunedin as a viable resettlement option.
What we're wanting to show to the government is that in a place like Dunedin, there's a great deal of goodwill and also a real desire to help, and also we believe the necessary infrastructure to help welcome refugees.
The government's responded, saying only that it's received the submission, but support from the Mayor and City Councillors is keeping the goal of Dunedin becoming a new home for refugees alive. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
A Dunedin teenager has just returned to the city from an international rugby league tour. The John McGlashan College pupil was chosen to represent New Zealand in the national under-18 league team. And although the tour is over, he's not stopping.
The stepping stone to greatness. The student is looking at a reminder of a life-changing trip. He's just returned from Australia, where he played 2 national games against Aussie counterparts.
Leaving Dunedin at 9 degrees and heading over there at 28 degrees, 30 degrees, it's pretty hot, bit of a difference for a start. But the climate's definitely a lot different over there, and just league is a lot bigger in Australia. Like, it's a lot bigger than what it is in New Zealand, and they're pretty passionate about the game.
Ferguson started out in rugby union and captained the school's first 15 to regional victory earlier this year. He's only just turned 17 and has been playing league for 2 years, but he's already represented New Zealand in the code several times.
Actually, the past year I've probably only played about 6 games of league. Been playing a bit of rugby, just trying to focus on that. But yeah, last year, this time I played for the 16s and then just built on to the 18s this year. So yeah, it's been not a bad year for me.
The number 13 is the only player from the South Island to be selected for the national under-18 side. He's enjoyed the opportunity to network with Kiwi players, as well as coach Stephen Kearney. The teenager wants to pursue a career in league and plans on making the move to Australia in hope of a contract with the Brisbane Broncos.
Doing something you enjoy as your job would be pretty awesome, I reckon. So I know maybe next year, once I finish school, might see what I can do, maybe try and get a contract and head across the ditch.
Ferguson says his heart's in rugby union, but league is opening doors for him and offering lucrative opportunities, even if that means playing for the opposition. Annabelle Dick, 39 Dunedin News.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. Local primary school children have had the first look at a new mobile science laboratory created inside a shipping container. Several safety improvements have been made to a Blackhead Road intersection where 2 people died in a collision last year. And people tasked with caring for family members are being formally recognised by a local society in a bid to garner more support. It's time now to find out what's going to be in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times, and Phil Somerville joins us. Good evening.
Yes, hi Rebecca. Well, the World Cup's warming up as we know, and the people of Kurau have gone and put up a big picture of, guess who? Richie McCaw. It's more than 4 metres tall, so twice the height of Brodie Retallick, the massive All Black loch. Something completely different, the fresh pages, lots of recipes, the wine column. The main story is recipes using tapenade. It's that sauce come from Provence with olives and stuff like that. It's quite popular these days, so look for that. Now the Muller Arch in Ravensbourne's been in the news recently, and the Wash, Dave Cannon and the Wash has gone and investigated just who Mr. Muller was, Mr. Hugworth Ernest Muller.
Isn't that an
He's
interesting
got an amazing name.
Hugworth.
He was the Mayor of Ravensbourne, off and on, twice called out of retirement for more than 20-something years. He was chairman of the Harbour Board, and he was involved in dozens of community organisations. So it seems such a shame that someone of his standing ends up in a crumbling memorial.
Absolutely. Well, details on that one in tomorrow's paper. Thank you, Phil. Time now for local weather.
This local weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silberhorn Sportsville.
And here is today's city view. It's taken of the wind whipping up whitecaps on the harbour. And around the city at 3 o'clock today, 12 degrees for the central city, 13 for the gardens and 11 on the Tyree. To the situation, and a west to southwest flow is blowing over the country this week as an anticyclone moves slowly across the Tasman. Around to some of the main towns on the lower South Island for tomorrow, fine weather with southwesters for Invercargill and Gore, a bit of cloud around Fort Tiana with southwest winds there, but a fine day awaits Alexandra with a high of 19. Fine in Queenstown with southwesters, 18 degrees there, a fine day for Oamaru, but nor'easters there. And just lovely fine weather for Wanaka and Twizel, both expecting 18 degrees. And Dunedin tonight becoming fine with a low of 6. Tomorrow we can look forward to long sunny periods, and southwesters tending northeast in the afternoon. I'm not really sure whether that's something to look forward to. A high of 16. And on Thursday, mostly fine and sunny with westerlies slowly freshening and a high of 17. And to the Otago Pallet Fires tidal and fishing information. Low tide tomorrow morning is around midday. High tide follows at 5:30. And fishing conditions look good tomorrow. Have your line in the water at around 10 past 2 in the afternoon. And that's local news for Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.